Welcome to G Talk Sports with me, Gianna Clemente. I'm here to give you a rundown on everything that happened in the past month with the National Football League, the National Basketball Association, and the National Hockey League. So starting off with the National Football League, there is a 17-week season that has been spanning from September to December. We're currently on week 17, so it is the last week of the season. Most games are all tomorrow, Sunday night football. Leading the league in first place is the New Orleans Saints with a record of 13 wins, 2 losses, and 0 ties, and a .867 overall winning percentage. Following them in second place is the Los Angeles Rams with a record of 12 wins, 3 losses, and 0 ties, and they have a overall winning percentage of .8. Following them in third place is the Chicago Bears with a record of 11 wins, 4 losses, and 0 ties, and a overall winning percentage of .733. The next really big game is the Super Bowl, the 53rd annual Super Bowl, on February 3rd, 2019 at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia. For those of you who aren't aware of the rules of the NFL playoffs, basically the top 6 teams by the end of the season in each conference play each other in those divisional games, and the top team from each conference of those divisional games play in the Super Bowl. So leading the American Football Conference is the Kansas City Chiefs, the Los Angeles Chargers, the New England Patriots, the Houston Texans, the Baltimore Ravens, and the Indianapolis Colts. The New England Patriots have been a Super Bowl contender for years. They're always playing with a guy like Brady on their team. They're always pretty solid for Super Bowl contending. In the National Football Conference, we have the New Orleans Saints, the Los Angeles Rams, the Chicago Bears, the Dallas Cowboys, the Seattle Seahawks, and the Minnesota Vikings. The top 3 of the league are actually all from the National Football Conference, which is pretty cool. Local team recap here in South Florida. We have the Miami Dolphins, who are 17th overall in the NFL with a record of 7 wins, 8 losses, and 0 ties, and a .467 overall winning percentage. Recap of the past few games. Week 14 was an intense 34-33 win against the New England Patriots. I think the Miami Dolphins scored in the last few seconds of the game, which was pretty cool. Week 15 was a 17-41 loss against the Minnesota Vikings. Week 16, a 7-17 loss against the Jacksonville Jaguars here at home. And the last game of their season is the Miami Dolphins against the Buffalo Bills, who have a record of 5 wins, 10 losses. Moving on to the National Hockey League, on December 4th, the commissioner of the NHL, Gary Bettman, announced the Seattle expansion for the 2021 year. The expansion draft will take place right before the 2021 season, and it's really exciting because they're going to rival Vancouver. December 27th, the All-Star captains were announced for the game on January 26, 2019. For the Atlantic Division, Austin Matthews of the Toronto Maple Leafs will be the captain. Metropolitan Division, Alexander Ovechkin of the Washington Capitals. For the Central Division, Nathan MacKinnon for the Colorado Avalanche will be the captain. And for the Pacific Division, Connor McDavid of the Edmonton Oilers will be the captain. So we're about the halfway mark of the season. Teams have played around 30 games. There's 82 games total in the season. Leading the league in first place is Tampa Bay Lightning with a record of 29 wins, 7 losses, and 2 overtime shootout losses with a total of 60 points overall. Following them in second is the Toronto Maple Leafs with a record of 26 wins, 10 losses, and 2 shootout overtime losses with a total of 54 points. And following them in third place is the Winnipeg Jets with a record of 24 wins, 12 losses, and 2 overtime shootout losses with a total of 50 points. So with the leading in the league, we have the Stanley Cup playoffs, and the playoffs are basically the top 3 teams from each division, and 2 wildcard teams play, and then whoever wins those games, they're a series of 4 games. Whoever wins them ends up moving on to the semifinals and then the finals until you get to the Stanley Cup finals. And they're played in 4-game series. So top contenders for each of the divisions are for the Eastern Conference is Tampa Bay Lightning, Toronto Maple Leafs, Buffalo Sabres, Washington Capitals, Columbus Blue Jackets, Pittsburgh Penguins, Montreal Canadiens, and Boston Bruins for the Eastern Conference. And for the Western Conference, we have the Winnipeg Jets, the Nashville Predators, the Colorado Avalanche, the Calgary Flames, the San Jose Sharks, the Vegas Golden Knights, Anaheim Ducks, and Dallas Stars. Update on the local team in South Florida. The Florida Panthers traded their backup goaltender Michael Hutchinson to Toronto for a 5th round 2020 draft pick. After embarking on a road trip on the 18th of December, they won 4 out of 5 games on that road trip and came back for their first home game on the 28th of December for a 5-3 loss against Montreal. However, the leaders in points on the Florida Panthers are Jonathan Huberdeau with 42 points, Alexander Barkov with 37 points, and Mike Hoffman with 35 points. Vincent Trocheck, Nick Bukestad, and Derek McKenzie are all still on injury reserve with their own injuries. They should be coming back hopefully sometime in February. The Florida Panthers currently stand 22nd overall in the league and 5th overall in wildcard. The next upcoming game for the Florida Panthers is December 29th at the BB&T Center. The Panthers, with a record of 15 wins, 15 losses, and 6 shootout overtime losses, will take on the Philadelphia Flyers with a record of 15 wins, 16 losses, and 5 overtime shootout losses, looking for a big win after a hard loss against Montreal. The next really big national hockey game will be the 2019 Winter Classic, which is part of the outdoor stadium series that the NHL has. It's going to be at the Notre Dame Stadium on New Year's Day at 1 p.m. The Chicago Blackhawks, with a record of 14 wins, 20 losses, and 6 overtime shootout losses, will take on the Boston Bruins with a record of 20 wins, 14 losses, and 4 shootout overtime losses. So moving on over to the National Basketball Association, the 68th annual All-Star Game will be Sunday, February 17th, 2019 at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at the Spectrum Center in Charlotte, North Carolina. The conference captains and players will be announced in late January and early February. So basketball season just started recently. However, leading in the league in the Eastern Conference is the Milwaukee Bucks with a record of 24 wins and 10 losses and a .706 overall win percentage. The Toronto Raptors in second with a 26 win, 11 loss record and a .703 overall winning percentage, and the Indiana Pacers with a record of 24 wins, 12 losses, and a .667 overall winning percentage for the Eastern Conference. Moving on to the Western Conference, we have the Denver Nuggets with a record of 22 wins and 11 losses and a .667 overall winning percentage. The Oklahoma City Thunder with a record of 22 wins, 12 losses, and a .647 overall winning percentage. And the Golden State Warriors with a record of 23 wins, 13 losses, and a .639 overall winning percentage. So, like the football playoffs, the top 8 teams of each conference play divisional games, and whoever wins those plays the top of each of the conferences, and they play in the championships. So top contenders for the Eastern Conference, other than the top 3 previously mentioned, are the Philadelphia 76ers, the Boston Celtics, the Charlotte Hornets, the Miami Heat, and the Detroit Pistons. Moving on to the Western Conference, we have the LA Clippers, the Portland Trailblazers, the Houston Rockets, the Los Angeles Lakers, and the Sacramento Kings. Moving on to the local team recap, here in South Florida is the Miami Heat. They are 7th overall in the Eastern Conference with a record of 17 wins, 17 losses, with a .5 overall winning percentage. Their last game was a 94-118 win for the Miami Heat against the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Cleveland Cavaliers have a record of 8 wins, 28 losses, and the upcoming game for the Miami Heat is December 30th, this Sunday at the American Airlines Arena. The Minnesota Timberwolves, with a record of 16 wins and 19 losses, will take on the Miami Heat with a record of 17 wins and 17 losses. Reporting for Pressing the Future, I'm Gianna Clemente. You've watched G Talk Sports. See you next month.
Just say bye.
Bye.